Hailey with foxtailartwork.com, and I'm going to be teaching basic painting techniques in a free beginner series. So our first painting is going to be a cosmic tree. So I'm going to be teaching you guys how to paint nebulas and a tree and how to shade a tree. So to start off with today, we are going to need 2 nylon flat brushes, 1 inch and 1/4, and then we are going to need a golden tack-on round brush, and then you need a huge wad of paper towels. And then for our colors, we are using acrylic paint, and I'm using a phthalo blue, a titanium white, black, fuchsia, and violet. Alright, so we are going to start out with our biggest golden nylon flat brush, and we are going to go from lightest color to darkest color, so minus the white. So we're going to start out with that fuchsia, and you want to get a whole bunch of paint on your brush, like a huge amount of paint. So you're just going to use it kind of like a shovel and scoop up a whole glob of paint. And then you're just kind of going to pick where you want your pink to be on your canvas. So I'm just going to dab it on in the area that I want it to be. And then you're going to take your handy dandy paper towel. I like Blue's Clues. And you're going to bunch it up. And then you're just going to dab it across the canvas until it starts getting light like that. Alright, then you're going to take another scoop of pink. If you don't want so much pink, you do not have to use a whole lot of pink. If you just want one area pink or you don't want pink at all, feel free to switch over to your purple. So I'm going to dab it on with my paintbrush again, use my paper towel. Alright, so then after you use your pink and you feel good about how much pink is on your canvas, we are going to take a scoop of purple. We do not have to wash our brush off. So we're going to take that violet. So take a huge scoop of that violet, and then you pick an area that you want that purple to be in. And then same technique, we're going to grab another paper towel. We're going to use a different one, so a clean one. You're going to ball it up and then dab the purple across the canvas. I want the edges to be really soft, so I'm going to dab out all of the edges. So I feel pretty good with that. And then we're going to take a scoop of our phthalo blue. You do not have to wash off your brush. Just take a big scoop of phthalo blue, and you can add some of that phthalo blue wherever you want. It's kind of a cool painting for creativity. You are free reign on your background. It's totally your vision. So we're taking another clean paper towel. We never want to reuse paper towels with pink or purple already on them. And then I'm kind of layering on top of the pink just a little bit. And I feel pretty good with that blue, but I really want to add some lighter blues into it. So I'm going to take the phthalo blue, and then I'm going to take some white and mix it in with that phthalo blue, and I'm going to lighten the blue. And you're welcome to add white until you feel good about what shade of blue you're getting, but I am gonna probably stop about here. I like how it's kind of like a sky blue, so I'm gonna keep that blue. Okay, I'm gonna keep the sky blue, and then I'm going to add the sky blue in to my painting in some spots. Alright, now I'm taking a clean paper towel, and I'm going to dab that lighter blue into the purple. So these nebulas are all about layering. We want to layer the colors. Alright, so I feel pretty good with that. So we're going to move on to black, because in outer space we have a lot of black, so we're going to fill in some of our areas with black. And the reason we put on the lighter colors first is so that they would shine through. If we did black first, then it wouldn't be as bright of a pink, it wouldn't be as bright of a purple, and it wouldn't be as bright of a blue. So I'm going to go ahead and wash my brush off. So you're going to take your water and you're going to tap the brush at the bottom of your water cup. And then you want to take a napkin and we just want to wipe our brush off. We don't have to get all the paint out of it. The black's going to overtake it. Just want sort of a clean brush to start with. Alright, so same technique here. We're grabbing our big scoop of black like a shovel, using our brush like a shovel. Then we're just going to take these big scoops of black and tap where we want our black to come in. So I'm going to start off with that. Fold up my paper towel. And then I'm just going to, same technique, I'm dabbing the black into the surrounding colors. So when your paper towel starts getting like a lot of paint on it, you want to switch over to a new paper towel. And we want to make sure the canvas is completely covered in paint. So everywhere. We don't really want any white spots showing. There can be a little bit of white here and there because we're going to go back over it with our colors and layer it. But we want to cover up as much of the white as we can. Okay, I feel pretty good with this as my starting point, so I'm going to have to let this dry. So we're going to let it dry, and while we're letting our paint dry on our canvas, we want to leave our paintbrush inside a water cup so that the brush doesn't dry out. Once your canvas is dry, we're going to go back on top of our background and paint another layer. So we're going to start out in the same order as we did last time using the same brush. So we're going to start out with our fuchsia pink, but I'm going to add a little bit of white into it. So I made somewhat of a bubblegum color. And we're going to do the same technique as we did before. We're going to take this big glob of pink and we're going to dab it into where we want it to go. So I'll start out with that. Then we want to take a paper towel, clean paper towel, So we're going to add these light areas in to give contrast to the dark colors. And after you add in what you like, what parts you want it to be a lighter pink, we're going to switch over to a light purple. So we're going to take that violet. Do not have to wash off your brush. You're going to grab a little bit of white. And we're going to make a violet color. Or a lavender color. So, about that color. Alright, so now we're going to take our lavender color and we're going to go into our painting and add lavender into a few places. We're kind of going to overlap a little bit of our color here and there. And I'm probably good with that for the lavender. So we're going to do our same technique, taking a paper towel, and then we're going to dab. So I'm adding these light colors in, and then I'm going to go back through and put dark back on top. So then it'll give it that like cloud gas look, which is what a nebula is gas. So just to tell you guys a little bit about me, I travel full-time with my fiance, and I actually taught people how to paint at a paint and sip for 2 years before we started traveling, and I really enjoy painting and teaching others how to do it. So while we're on the road, I'm going to be doing little segments like this to share my knowledge with you guys. And if you're interested in our travels, you can check out Road to Coexistence, theroadtocoexistence.com. And you can keep up with where we're going, what we're doing, and all kinds of good stuff. You get to see me skydiving and living the dream. So the next color we're going to move to is the phthalo blue. And I'm going to stick with just the phthalo blue to start out with because I really want some more of that darker blue that you can see right there in the painting. So I'm kind of going to add a little bit into the middle and some of the darker blue on the outer edges. And if a little bit of that like pink purple gets into it, it's totally fine. It's going to lighten it up in some areas, but you want some color contrast. So I'm going to take my napkin and if there's too much paint on one part of your napkin, just flip it over and then use a part that doesn't have any paint on it, and that'll help blend your colors together. Some hard work, but pays off. And right now in our travels, we're actually in Yosemite, and we got to go into the national park. And it's so beautiful, but it's so crowded this time of the year. So I wouldn't recommend coming this time of the year. You should probably come during the fall, because it's beautiful and you still get to see all the waterfalls. Okay, last little bit up at the top. Alright, now I'm going to go back through and add just a little bit of black here and there because I want some of the black to be pulled in front of this lighter stuff. So you're going to take a big scoop of black and you're just going to add a little bit in. You're barely touching your canvas because black is a strong color. It's going to pull through. So I'm going to take my paper towel. And I'm pushing down pretty hard so that I'm simultaneously drying it as I'm dabbing and spreading it, because we don't want too much of the black paint in one area. So I'm pushing down really hard to spread it and dry it at the same time. You want to make sure you're using a dry spot of your napkin for the black especially. Alright, so I feel really good about the background So I'm going to leave the background as is, and I'm going to, oh wait, I found another spot. Okay, cool. Sorry, did I just pull out another shot? Okay, so I feel good about the nebulas in the background, so I'm going to add my stars, which is super fun to do. So we're switching over to our 1/4 golden nylon flat brush, and we're going to pull some white and add it to a part of your palette that's dry. And then you're going to add water into it, like so much water that when you tilt your palette, the water should run off, start to run off in one direction. And it's okay if like your water is a little bit muddy and it turns your white gray, it'll still come out white. But as you can see when I tilt it, see how it runs? So it's very runny. It's very watered down. So I'm going to take this really, really run down, watered down white, and then you're going to put your finger on the tip of your brush, and you're going to pull your brush, what do you call them? Brussels, sorry. Like Brussels sprout. You're going to pull your Brussels back, and then you're going to release it forward, and that's going to make stars across your canvas. And then you just want to keep getting that really watered down white and flicking it onto your canvas. And you can add as many stars as you want. Like you can keep going and really make it like billions of little tiny stars all throughout your little nebulas up here. But whenever you feel satisfied with however many stars you have, we have to let our background dry before we can add our tree. So you want to stick your brushes that you've used into some water, and then we're going to leave it in the water and let our background dry. Alright, so now that our background is dry, we are going to wash off our 1/4 flat brush, and then we are going to fill that brush with black. And then we're going to find the very center of our canvas, and then we're going to come down to the bottom in the center. And we're going to start with a little triangle at the bottom. And you can fill that triangle in. And then from the top of that triangle, we're going to make a line that comes up into the very center of the canvas. Just like that. And then we're going to start filling in that line. So we're going to make that line a little bit thicker. But we want it to stay proportional to our little triangle at the bottom. So if we need to make it a little bit wider, we can do that. So I'm gonna probably let it stay about there for right now. And then I'm gonna start mapping out my branches. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break the tree off into two sections. So one section and then the other section. So it's gonna be like a Y at the top of our tree. Just like that. And then here, if you want to, you can switch over to that smaller round brush, but you can make branches with your flat brush too. So just depending on your preference. I'm going to stick with my flat brush. And then I'm going to start on the right side, on the right branch that I made, the right one that's breaking off into a Y. And then I'm going to break that branch off into 3. So it might be hard to tell because my canvas is a little dark, but there is a three-pronged, we can say a trident on the right side. And I'm going to start with the very bottom branch. I always start with the bottom right and work my way over to the bottom left. So on the bottom right branch, we are going to lightly make our line over toward the right side of the canvas. Alright, so when working with a flat brush, if you want to make these really thin lines, you need to tilt your brush up and then use the very edge of your brush and lightly touch the canvas, and it'll make these really thin lines for you. So now I'm going to follow this branch. And I'm going to make a line out toward the right side of the canvas. And then bring this big guy up. And he's going to go up toward this corner. Toward the top right corner. So I'm going to leave that guy about there. And then another thing with trees I always see people doing, they tend to just stick their branches out, and branches need to subtly change in size, and they need to subtly come off the tree so they don't look like they're just sticking out. They're actually coming off the tree in a nice way. So I'm going to add little branches to some of these guys. And if your tree starts to get too thick, if your branches start to get too thick, just add another branch off that branch. And then it'll give it the illusion of being thin. And then with branches like these that are just coming off and they're really thick, you just want to bring back down to the tree trunk itself. And then we can even add a little guy off the bottom down here. So with this guy that's coming up toward the right corner, I'm going to break him off into 2. So now I'm bringing this branch up toward the top, and then I'm making sure I'm going to bring it a little bit, make a line closer toward the branch so that it doesn't look like it's just sticking off. And then we can add some more branches to this guy. So you can kind of just pick where you want your branches to go. Like, where do you see a branch? I see a branch coming off this direction. All right, so I feel pretty good. That guy. So I'm gonna come back down to the base of the tree, and then I'm gonna bring this branch up, and I'm gonna break it off into 3 directions. And you want to make sure you don't have too much paint on your brush for thin lines like these. So you just want to put a little bit on, and then you want to wipe both sides of the brush onto your palette, and that'll take off any excess paint that you have on the brush. So I'm going to start with this thick one right here. And I'm going to break it off into multiple branches because I made him a little too thick. And then we can make a little bit of a few branches coming off. So when you get to the left side of the branch, I'm going to break this left side off into 3. And then I'm going to take this farthest right branch, and it's going to come all the way up to the left side, left corner, top left corner of the canvas. And then I'm going to break it off into 3. And you can make this guy a little bit thicker all the way down into the base. And then you can break off little branches off of all of these little smaller branches off of the small branches. And then I want to add a little branch that's coming off. And I want it to go back toward the right. You want to make sure it looks connected to the tree. Okay, I actually hate that branch, so I'm covering it up. Okay, so that branch is gone. So I'm just gonna add another little branch. It's not going to go quite so far to the left. I mean to the right. Actually, go with that. Alright, then we're going to follow this middle branch. You're going to make them a little bit thicker. And we're just going to keep adding little branches on this branch just to fill in some of the space. And we're going to follow this last little branch. And it's going to curve down. And you're just going to keep adding little branches on until you're happy with the branch. Less is more sometimes, so maybe if you add one or two and you think it looks good, it might be wise to stop adding. But you also want your tree to look full, somewhat full of branches. So find the balance. Alright, and I'm going to add one more little branch coming off the bottom down here toward the left. And I'm just going to add a couple branches off of this guy. And I feel pretty happy with how my tree is right now. So I'm going to, well, right now I'm just touching up the tree trunk. And then after I finish up just cleaning up these lines along the tree trunk, I'm going to start adding some of the shading. So you're welcome to wash your flat brush off. And then we're going to make a gray. So we're going to mix black and white. So for the shading of the tree, I'm going to make a gray. So I'm going to mix a white and a black. But I want it a lighter gray, so I'm going to mix more white than black. And I like this gray, so I'm going to stick with this. But you can make it a little bit lighter or a little bit darker, just depending on your preference. Alright, so I'm going to take that lighter gray. And what I'm doing is a dry brushing technique. So I'm going to take a paper towel. And I'm just going to like run it along the paintbrush and kind of just pull off some of the excess paint. Because I want it to be a little bit drier, not too much paint on the brush. So I'm wiping off some of it. So we're going to start with the shading on the left side of the tree. So we want to start down at the very bottom where the tree trunk is, and then we're going to start right on the edge of the left side, and we're just going to use our paintbrush and we're going to pull it in toward the center of the tree trunk. And as you can see, mine's progressively getting a little bit darker, and that's because my paint is still a little wet. So I'm just going to have to refuel more often with that lighter gray. And I'm just going to continue up the left side of the tree. Alright, and then once we get to the top of the tree, I'm going to take some of that shading and bring it in to the inside of both middle branches. So it's the opposite side for each branch. And then I'm going to take the gray and I'm going to go along the branches. I'm going to stick to the right side of the branches on the left side of the tree. So I'm going to find my edge. You want to make sure you don't have too much paint on your brush. So I'm going to find my edge. And then I'm just going to follow it. So this is giving the tree a highlight, so we can actually see it in the branches on this dark background. So then we're going to go along the tree and do that to all of the branches. We're going to do the right side of the branch on the left side of the tree, and then we are going to do the left side of the branches on the right side of the tree. Finish shading your tree, your painting should look somewhat like this, and this is our finished cosmic tree. And if you guys want to learn more, you can tune in to foxtailartwork.com. I will be doing more beginner paintings such as this one, where I'll be teaching simple techniques like the ones that you learned in today's painting. So thank you so much, guys.